everyone. My name is Shani Jones, and I am your resident certified sex coach. Thank you so much for joining me on Do You Know the New Kink for You? This is your platform where I attempt to share with you my insights and knowledge as a sex coach, a sex educator, around ways that your sexuality is unique. Your journey is unique. Your experiences are unique. And it's okay to have a discovery moment about the person that you are, the person that you have been, and the person that you want to be. I'm not trying to sell you on a dream. I'm trying to show you that through communication, education, positivity, and permission to yourself, that you can overcome anything, and challenges are just temporary setbacks that you haven't quite figured out yet. So, we are reading from the book Mirror of Intimacy, Daily Reflections on Emotional and Erotic Intelligence by Alexandra Katakis and Tom Bliss. This is the ASEX 2015 Book of the Year, and ASEX stands for American Association of Sexuality Educators, Counselors, and Therapists. Now, I am doing something different today, which I think I'm going to try to incorporate. We'll see how it goes, but I am recording this for YouTube as well as doing the podcast. Now, typically what I do is the daily audio podcast, audio only podcast, to Anchor, to Spotify, and a bunch of other platforms that hopefully that's where you're hearing me. And if you're not, you're watching me, and you can find me. So this is an exception because I usually do a weekly summary, which I need to do for the previous week. And I am going to do that, but I did the recordings out of order a bit because I wanted to do the video recording for February 26th, which is about sexual confusion. Now, I really wanted to do this one because I feel that it speaks to what it is that I do here as a coach and educator. So the way that it works, and for the YouTubers, I'm glad you get to kind of experience the daily, because the summaries are a cheat. They're a cheat for you, I promise. So here is a daily reflection on sexual confusion for February 26th. There is a quote, and then there is, doing some tricks over here. Then there is a passage from the authors that I will read, that I will give you the opportunity to think and reflect and feel on. Don't feel it yourself, just feel emotionally. Figure out what resonates with you. I will share with you what resonates with me, and I'll ask you to think again. What is it that I've said that may have positively or negatively, conjured something? I don't like to use trigger because triggered is such a triggering word. What conjured something within you? And what does it mean if it did? So let's start with the quote. No creature can learn that which his heart has no shape to hold. Cormac McCarthy. It's perfectly healthy to be sexually confused. Confusion abounds in relationships about appropriate boundaries, whether sex is satisfying, and reading a lover's intentions. In fact, the wonderment of why we're attracted to certain people and how others are attracted to us is infinitely confusing. Healthy confusion inspires healthy curiosity. But when sexual confusion paralyzes our capacity for erotic relationship, it requires attention. Sexual confusion caused by repression or negative conditioning often feels empty or triggers our anger. Fear of asking questions about sex or denial that we have any questions can block our sensual maturation. Our first step is to overcome our emptiness, anger, and blockage by allowing room for questions. A step which sounds simple, but is very hard if early programming never let us even admit we had questions. Difficulty asking questions is one of the best reasons to seek out competence and perhaps professional points of view. We each work only with the information we've been given, so it's hard enough to find our psychological blocks, much less to learn how to let the light shine through them. One function of any professional is to relay the most up-to-date information, which gives us access to many points of view through one person. Free 12-step meetings like Codependency Anonymous, Sex and Love Addicts Anonymous, and Recovering Couples Anonymous, as well as numerous therapeutic or spiritual support groups, also function as sources for diverse viewpoints and may shed light on issues we couldn't even have known we had. Sexual confusion doesn't just go away. The only way to find freedom from confusing feelings is to process them, which, as signaled by the word, invites us into the process of asking and answering ourselves. So, that's what the book had to say. This is sexual confusion over here for February 26th. And again, I read slightly out of order because I wanted to publish this and then, get all of this ready so I could do the weekly summary. So this week actually ends on the 28th, which was yesterday. And today I still owe a audio podcast for the 29th. So, oh no, I don't. I'm early. I'll do it today. So just one more for tomorrow before we end our second season. It's not a series, second season. It's fully in February. So, what are your thoughts on it? I like this one because it really does speak to what it is that I hope to do here that makes your life better. There is something that we all need to do, and it's to give ourselves permission. Permission to feel, permission to ask questions, permission to be confused. To be sexually confused is not uncommon, especially now, because what we're seeing are more people saying that I don't feel the way everybody tells me I should feel, based on what society says, or based on what my culture says, what my religion says, what my family says. There are so many things about us as individuals, as people, that we have to learn about ourselves. And then there are times when we struggle with that understanding and learning about ourselves. And then on top of it, we are trying to then relate and understand other people who are trying to understand themselves. So it's not that it's expected to be easy. What is expected is that you have a place where you feel safe, where you feel that you can ask questions, and even if not to get an immediate response, to be able to acknowledge the fact that you have questions and be okay with that. To be okay with being confused about why certain things affect you the way that they do. I talk about a lot in this podcast, especially because it's based on words. And words can mean different things. We, as American Westerners, we know that one word can have a dozen different meanings. And depending on the context, then it means one thing. Depending on the spelling, if you're doing it based on the audio version of what it is that you hear, can mean something. So our communication, our vocabulary means a lot when we don't know how to package it into the correct word. In my research, I've done a lot of reading where before the word asexual existed, or before the word transgender existed, or before the word even gay existed, you didn't know how to contain or package how it is that you felt. And to go even beyond the, which I'm going to get into I know I keep dropping these little teasers, but I have become very interested in the focus of GSRD, which is gender, sex, relationship, diversity. And there is a whole nother component that speaks to GSRD as the almost counter to LGBTQIA plus communities. Because again, depending on who you're talking to, some letters are included, excluded, have multiple meanings in the word, and there are still those who don't feel comfortable in any space. And so for me, having those conversations or building that community around vocabulary and dialogue and what does it mean to be truly inclusive of people who are still just trying to figure it out. And, maybe they're not as confident to label themselves in any category or another because they have sexual confusion. They don't know what questions to ask. They don't even know who to ask the questions to, which is why I do what I do. Because I realize that there is so much shame and negativity around sex. I've been around people, family even recently, who, still, I don't want to be a sex bully. I'm not going to just, berate you like, someone who's newly found religion and just like they just want to, express their God to you. Like, I get it. I get the excitement. I get it. And I am that way a lot of times, but I'm not going to bully you because any attempt that I make to make sex more comfortable for you is probably going to be counterproductive because you're already rejecting me. So I have to meet certain people where they are. So my ask of you is that if you are in a place of sexual confusion, ask yourself, do you want to stay there? Or do you want help to figure it out? And then if you do want help, then we can figure out what that help looks like and how will your life be better from it, because that's really all I want. I want you to be happy. So my name is Shani Jones. I am your resident certified sex coach. Thank you for listening to Do You Know the New Kinky You? These conversations can be hard. Communication can be difficult. We've talked about communication as part of our reflections in this book, but I am going to continue to fight the good fight and ask you to challenge yourself to continue the conversations, first within yourself, and then with those people who you love and respect, because those are the people that you should be having these conversations with. But I'm awesome. So thank you again, and I will talk to you soon.